Welcome to Centinela de Cristo.
Blessings, this is Pastor Luis Luciano from Oklahoma. Sunday, April 27th, the very first commandment. The Garden of Eden was a classroom for God's first people, a place where their interaction with the creation would endlessly teach them and their offspring more about the Creator. The holy pair were not only children under the fatherly care of God, Ellen G. White pointed out, but students receiving instruction from the all-wise Creator, the mysteries of the visible universe, the wondrous works of Him, which is perfect in knowledge. Job 37:16 afforded them an exhaustless source of instruction and delight. Patriarchs and Prophets, pages 50 and 51. Read Genesis chapter 2, verse 9 through 17. What was the first command? A prohibition that God gave to humanity, and why was it so important? The first use of the root verb to command that God gave us to humans was in Genesis chapter 2, verse 16 and 17. The command not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. How can some knowledge be forbidden? Isn't it always useful to experience and to know more? Not according to Scripture. God was intent on educating His people thoroughly while sparing them from the long-term suffering that some knowledge would cause, such as what would later happen when people chose to rule themselves rather than to be ruled by the Lord Himself. Millennia later, when Israel asked for a king, the Lord laid out the consequences, as we discovered last week. And He informed His people that the decision to step away from His direct rule will last until the end of time. As the kings of Israel became progressively more wicked, God's covenant people became so worldly and so removed from their purpose that He gave them even more of what they wanted: human government. Approaching the book of Daniel with this background in mind can be enlightening. Not only is the march of empires depicted in the book's vision an indictment of the nations and Gentiles, it is also an indictment of Israel's failures, their refusal to follow His commandments. Centuries of subjection, instead of the freedom first given in Eden, will become a new classroom where willing hearts could witness the striking contrasts between the kingdoms of this world and God's kingdom. Think about the kinds of knowledge, even now, that many of us will be better off not knowing. How does this help us understand what was forbidden in Eden?